Hey guys, Lightning Reviews here, and today I'm reviewing the Demon King Piccolo saga. First, I want to apologise for not posting last week. The reason for that is because I've now got a second channel called Lightning Limit. I may put it in the comments or description, may not, don't know. I'm only name linking it, I'm gonna probably leave it to be itself. But yeah, I was just trying to get a lot of content posted on there. So yeah, don't worry, this channel is still continuing. Anyways, with that, let's begin. This saga is straight off the heels of Tien's victory over Goku in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. I want to talk about the narrative technique, death. Death in most instances is used to evoke an emotional reaction out of the reader / viewer. In most cases, it's used to make the viewer sad. It's done well when you've emotionally bonded to the character, since this is the easiest way to invoke emotions, as it also severely affects the world inside the universe and affects the reader emotionally. I'll go over what else it can do later. I say all this to say Krillin's death was a great one. You consciously built a connection to Krillin, you've learned his backstory, you've seen his personality and explored his character, and it was done at the right time during the calm after the storm, when we were getting ready to calm our nerves and mind. This happened quickly, which excites us for what's to come. This also brings a rage in Goku, which would go on to bring a motivation into him. Now I want to talk about motivation. Motivation is very important for a story and character. It explains a lot about a character, and is the reason a character does anything. Knowing this can help you bond with the character, as some motivations are relatable and in general tells us more about the character's world and story. Dragon Ball uses death as Goku's motivation to kill the Demon King, and it's a great motivation as it allows us to easily sympathize and empathize with Goku. Also, I want to quickly talk about the Demon King. We can tell from his large stature. He's strong, but we can see from his age that he's not as strong, which could indicate to the viewer that he's not at full power, which serves as his motivation. Now for Jirobi's introduction. We can evidently see his similarities to Goku. Firstly, he lives in the wild and is very territorial about his food. This is pure speculation and I'm not sure, so do not quote me at all. But I speculate that Jirobi might have been raised by an animal, and I'm probably wrong though, because I don't know his backstory. That's just pure speculation just from the way he acts. Akira Toriyama uses the common tactic of design deception. I want to quickly talk about that. He uses Goku and Krillin's small stature to make an in-canon reason for their underestimation. Later, all the way in Dragon Ball Super, Vegeta is a gigantic robot. He forces Vegeta to go Super Saiyan, and he's weak to insults and starts crying. He uses this for gags and shock. The gag part in the most is effective, but the shock categories, it slowly loses effect as time goes on. Jirobi is the perfect example of this, and it actually works slightly, but you can feel it losing its effect after the 56th time. He creates the effect by killing one of the Demon King's Piccolo's minions, who killed Krillin, easily beat Goku. Now I want to talk about why it's so important to set a mood and how effective this arc is at it. Mood directly affects how the viewer feels towards the arc itself. Having mood changing too suddenly without reason can be jarring and emotionally confuse the reader, especially if it takes place in the middle of the story. And in general, the mood and atmosphere generally captures and changes the experience of watching. Dragon Ball creates a very bleak setting as bodies hit the floor rapidly, and in general makes this a tense arc. I feel like anyone can die at any time. I just love its use in this arc. Tambourine soon arrives after Symbol's death. The fight between Goku and him was by far the best short fight. This was the most in sync you've ever been with Goku. You feel and understand his rage as he destroys Tambourine. It's honestly held so much emotion in this. It had Goku's emotional narrative, his revenge. You could feel all his emotions with every punch and kick. It was one of the most satisfying fights I've experienced. You've made emotional times with Krillin and Goku, making this battle even more sweet and satisfying. Now for Demon King Piccolo vs Goku. Over the arc, the Demon King minions are fought for him. This poses the question of how powerful is he? And our phrase like this, he doesn't disappoint. He really builds an intimidating profile for himself, which he was in dire need for, and pose him as a great threat. Now I want to expand my points and expand them through Master Roshi vs Piccolo. A mood should be affected by a character's presence, especially a villain design like the Demon King. His mere presence should set a fear, dread and sympathy for the one lucky enough to encounter him. And Dragon Ball has easily accomplished this, establishing this feel through Goku's utter defeat and the already bleak tone. I felt this dread when Master Roshi faced down Piccolo. Earlier he says, Tien, I've drank the elixir of immortality, and Tien easily calls the bluff but then Master Roshi knocks Tien out, and it feels like a goodbye. And when he dies, it fills you with a sadness, as you can empathise with the characters, as you can imagine losing a mentor figure and the pain it would cause. Now I'll quickly mention the Mofuba and why it added to these goodbye vibes. It easily had a great build up, but I want to talk about what it represents to Roshi himself. It within itself represents goodbye, as was the last thing his master used before he was gone. So I think this move already fits the battle. The Demon King's wish for youth, shared build up and truly invoked stress and fear for the viewer. When he gets it, it's something I never saw coming, and when it does happen, I promise, it's a scary thought and reality. What can he do now that he possesses youth and even more strength than before? After the Demon King defeats everybody, Goku scales Korin's tower and learns of the Super Holy Divine Water / the Water of the Gods. Ignore the Super Holy Divine Water part, it's just the Water of the Gods. I'm not sure about its official name. Well, I really hate this. This is one of the worst types of Deus Ex Machina. I know. It comes from nowhere. I've already talked about build-up, so I won't go into it here. But I'll give an example. Imagine a goldfish, it's sick, then it dies. You wouldn't be as shocked. But if it's perfectly healthy, then dies, it'd leave you confused. That's why build-up is such an important thing, and it is essential. The lack of build-up makes this power feel unearned, and even as he goes through pain to achieve it, it still sucks. It's only over like 3 pages. 3 pages long, and can't feel the full weight of drinking it. And it feels like it has no stakes, and honestly it was a horrible power-up moment. It goes against Dragon Ball's philosophy of hard work to achieve things. It doesn't establish anything new about the character of Goku. We already knew he was fearless in most cases, so this sucked. But in such a short amount of time to beat King Piccolo, the author writ himself into a corner of solutions that suck and feel unearned. Akira Toriyama kinda just didn't have many ways to get out of this. Honestly, Goku's appearance at the last moment before Tien was killed felt great and heroic, and and honestly one of the hypest moments. It takes a different feel than in earlier arcs, where it feels more like disrespect to the other characters, but here it feels great. Tien's defeat made this arc even more bleak, and Goku arriving really works with the mood to make something, well. Now finally I want to talk about the Demon King versus Goku. This fight was amazing. It had the feel of a slugfest as the two brawled. You could feel their emotions coming from the page. You felt both their anger and contempt. Piccolo due to his pride being severely wounded, and Goku due to Krillin's death. This fight had build-up upon build-up. You knew from the moment that he was unveiled that Goku was going to fight him, and the emotion is just there. Honestly, there's so much I could say about this one, but I'm going to probably condense it quite a bit. It was a great fight, and it's probably the most iconic fights I know from Dragon Ball. Honestly, Akira Toriyama does some of his best artwork here, and it's just very much eye candy to look at this fight from each panel to panel. You understand Piccolo's character a lot more when he uses Tien to get his way and to trick Goku. When Goku comes up and surpasses his limits to finally end King Piccolo's reign, it feels truly heroic. It's one of the hypest moments in Dragon Ball in general. And you feel just that satisfying feeling as he goes straight through the King Piccolo. But yeah, with that is the end of my Demon King Piccolo saga review. Originally, I was going to add the part of training with Kami, but I decided to record it. It's got to 10 minutes, so yeah. Then I was like, take it to 10 minutes, because that's what I personally prefer. Because it's only like 5 minutes, I don't think it's going to leave you satisfied enough. So yeah, with that, peace.